वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये पांचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं। हरि ओम तत्सत्। All right, so we recently had the celebration of Hanuman Jayanti. So today we are going to talk about the appearance of Lord Hanuman. Now the question may be, why are we discussing about Lord Hanuman in Krishna's class? The reason being is Krishna is, we as in devotees, when we hear Krishna Katha, we are very, very happy. So is the Lord. So to make the Lord happy, he's happy when his devotees are glorified. So Hanuman, being a very great devotee of Sri Lord Ramchandra, to please Lord Ram, we are going to glorify Sri Hanuman. Now Hanuman, as we all know, there's a whole, the way we recite Narsingha Kavach for protection. Similarly, we recite materialistic people, and we also, but in general, I can talk about myself that when I was young, I used to recite Hanuman Chalisa for the reason being, it was taught to us by my mother that whenever you feel you're scared or you're in anxiety or you feel you're troubled, then you just chant Hanuman Chalisa. So Hanuman Chalisa is for the same reason as we chant Narsingha Kavach. But now that we are into Krishna consciousness and we know that Lord Krishna and Narsingha Deva are non-different, Narsingha Deva is an incarnation of Lord Krishna. So we chant Narsingha Kavach, and we know all these demigods who are basically for protection, or we recite their mantras. All the demigods are demigoddesses. They get their power from Narsingha Deva. We know that because Narsingha Deva is the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So based on that, we are going to talk about Sri Hanuman, and he is an ardent devotee of Lord Ramchandra. Now, it is very, very important for us to know the glories of the devotees of the Lord to get the inspiration to serve the Lord in a similar fashion. We cannot imitate them, but we can definitely get inspired by them. So coming to Hanuman Jayanti, Jayanti again is the appearance. So how did Sri Hanuman appear? How, when, and what are the different meanings of the names, different names he has? So starting with the word Hanuman. Hanuman, the word Hanuman means what? Hanu is called chin in Sanskrit, So we know the pastime of, so I'll just give you, I'll get into the story, but just to brief you. So his chin was, he was hurt at his chin, and that's how he got the name Hanuman. So how was he hurt? Once when Hanuman was very little, and he was empowered by the potency of Lord Shiva. Sometimes, okay, first we'll do the birth. Let's come to the birth. So some call him the son of Anjana. Some call him the potency of Lord Ramchandra. Some call him, he's called Anjana Sutta because he's the son of Anjana and Kesari, who is the father. Then he has different names. He's called Bajrangvali, and he's called Maruti because he's called the son of Marut, who's the wind god, Vayudev. So one time what happened was, he was very little, and he just woke up from his sleep, and he happened to be very hungry. So he saw the sun shining outside. When the dawn is there, the sun is not that bright. It looks really pretty, crimson, red, orangish color of a little. It's very little when it's rising. So he thought it was a fruit. He didn't care how far it was or what it was. He was just hungry. So he jumped to get that fruit. Now, we can imagine. He knew how to fly, obviously. So flying up to the sun can be really dangerous because the heat from the sun, even when we are on this planet Earth, in the scorching heat of May and June, we get so exhausted. We get sunburns. We have all these different kind of cream, sunscreen, and sun lotion and whatnot to protect us from the ultraviolet rays of the sun. Now imagine going that close to the sun. So Hanuman was Hanuman. So he was very much empowered. So it was not a problem for him. Now, what happened was, we know the pastime of Mohini Murti and how Rahu and Ketu, Rahu used to, every fortnightly, he would take care of, he would actually devour the sun or the moon. So it was his time for the solar eclipse to happen. And when he saw that Hanuman was about to swallow the sun, and Hanuman is not affected by any of this, right? And he was so disturbed because it was his chance. So he went complaining to Lord Indra that what is this? In the meantime, he had already, Hanuman had done the job. Now it became dark without sun. How can there be any light? All they could see was a little bit because of the effulgence of the ornaments that they were carrying. So Indra got very worried. Now Indra is always very worried. He's very scared of people who are more powerful than him because he's very scared of losing his position. So he shot his Vajra, and that Vajra, the weapon of Lord Indra, went and hit him here at his chin because it was dark. And then Vajra is a powerful weapon. So then Hanuman fell, and he fell to the ground and he lost his consciousness. And there came Vayudev, because he's considered to be the son of Vayudev. Vayudev got very upset. Now we'll get back to how he was considered the son of Vayudev. So Vayudev got very, very upset. He was not happy at all. And Vayu has the power to take away the oxygen from the entire universe. And that's what he did. And everybody was losing their lives. And they got so worried. They called out for Lord Brahma, and Vayudev just shut himself in a cave, and he was not ready to talk to anybody. He was very upset. He was holding the little baby Hanuman. So then Lord Brahma came, and he somehow consoled Vayu, and he made everybody seek forgiveness from Hanuman. Not only that, he made them bless Hanuman. So all these different demigods and who all came they all came and they blessed Hanuman with different weapons or potencies or different different blessings he was given. And so then that time, because he fell and he hurt his chin, so he was called Hanuman from that. Now he's also called Bajrangbali. Why is he called he's not Bajrangbali. So in the local language it has become Bajrangbali, but it's not Bajrang, it's Vajrang. Why Vajrang? Because as I told you that he was struck by the Vajra, the weapon of Lord Indra. That, and after Lord Indra gave him the blessing, so the blessing that he gave him was that he's going to be very, very strong. So Vajra Ang Bali. So his body is going to be strong to withhold weapons like Vajra. So that is why his body became as hard as Vajra. So he's called Vajrangbali. Then, Kuber gave him Gada, and Indra gave him Vajra, and so many different weapons were given to him. And then he's called Maruti. Why? Because he's considered
Mataji,
to be...
I have a question.
Yes.
Mataji, I have a question. What is Hanuman's father's name?
Kesari. Kesari is...
That's why Hanuman's other name is Kesari Nandan?
Yes. Anjana Sutta, Kesari Nandan, Maruti, different names based on different appearances in different kalpas. So that's what we are getting at, that how he got these different names. So these are the different names that he has. Now we come to his birth. Okay. That is going to answer quite a few of your questions. Okay. Now, how did he appear? Whose son actually was he? That is the main thing. Some call him a Shiv avatar, you know. So some call him Maruti as the son of Vayu Dev. Some call him Kesari Nandan, the son of King Kesari, the monkey king. Anjana Sutta, he is the son of Anjana, who was the wife of Kesari, king. He's also called Ram Anj, you know. So in Hanuman Chalisa, there's a verse which calls him Raghuvir. So Raghuvir, how? Because Raghu is Lord Ram. So why is he called Raghuvir? So we'll come to all these names, that why is he called by these different names. Now, the reason being is different kalpas, there is slight variations in the appearances. You know, we've read, we did Radha Ashtami, right? So different kalpas, you know, kalp bhed, because of the difference in the kalpa, the appearances are slightly different. So one time what happened was Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati, they were playing. So, you know, they used to enjoy in different roles. So one time they were enjoying as monkeys, both of them were enjoying as monkeys, and that's when Mother Parvati conceived Hanuman. Now she didn't want to give birth to a monkey child. Now, right after that, in that play, that pastime that they were doing, after that, when she came back to her original form as Mother Parvati, she realized that she has conceived the baby and she didn't want to have a monkey child. So she asked Lord Shiva that I don't want to have a child in the body of a monkey, but because this has happened during the time when we were enacting as monkeys, can you please do something about it? So Lord Shiva called for Vayudev, and he asked Vayudev to transfer the conception to, you know, from Mother Parvati to a safe place. And Vayudev transferred the conception to Anjana, who was the wife of a monkey demon. She also basically in her previous birth was a celestial being. She was an Apsara. And due to some curse that she got, she had to come in the body of a monkey, and that's where she was, you know, so Vayudev transferred the conception to her, just by, you know, Marut is what? Vayu is what? Air, right? So just by the touch of the gust of a wind, she was given that, and she understood that something is wrong, something touched her, but she was not sure what it was. And then when she demanded, and that what is it that happened, and that's how Vayudev revealed to her that she was given the ansh of Lord Shiva. So that is why he's called Shiva avatar. Also, because the wind, the Vayudev, was the one who carried this conception to her, he's also called Maruti, the son of Marut, the son of Vayudev. He's called, that is another reason for this name. Now, also, one time what happened was, we know that Maharaj Dashrath had, you know, was trying to have a son for a very, very long time. So then he was suggested to perform a Putra Kameshti Vrat, which he did. A yagya he did. And in that yagya, there was the paisam, which was offered to the, you know, the yagya, the fire sacrifice. And when that paisam was to be consumed by the three queens, that's how they were supposed to give birth to Lord Ram, Lord Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughna. Now, when this paisam was being carried from the fire sacrifice to the respective queens, what happened was a bird came, an eagle, and he took a little bit of that paisam, and he carried it and he dropped it right outside the house of Anjana. Now, at that point, Anjana was not present, but the wind god, you know, Vayudev, he carried it in his, you know, palms, and he gave it to Anjana in her panch. She honored that payasam, and that's how she ended up having Hanuman, and that is why he's called, um, you know, Ram Ansh, because he had the potency, the energy that was, it was, the payasam was to give birth to Lord Ram. So that energy, little part of that energy was in that payasam, which was honored by Anjana. So that's how he's called Ramansh also. Now, also it is said that Kesari and Anjana, they both, when they got married, they were trying to have a child for a very, very, very long time, but it was not happening. So they decided to please Lord Shiva. When they decided to please Lord Shiva, they performed many sacrifices, many, many, many sacrifices. And Lord Shiva, being happy by their penances, austerities, and sacrifices, he was pleased and he blessed them to have a child who happened to be Hanuman. Then that's why he was called Shivansh. He's also called the Ansh of Shiva. So we discussed, so that's how he was born. In Kailash, we already discussed Lord Shiva and Lord Parvati, they were performing the Vanar Roop and they were performing pastimes then. So like that. Now, the question may arise that if it is Lord Hanuman one, then why so many different variations in the birth? So as we discussed, it is due to kalpabhed. It is in different kalpas, different slight variation happens, and that's how the appearance of Lord Hanuman happened. Now, Hanuman was very, very, very naughty as a child, amazingly naughty. He used to perform all things that would disturb all the rishis just for fun. He wasn't he wasn't playing the act, he wasn't acting as a demon to disturb the sacrifices. He was just having fun. He wasn't harming the yagyas, he wasn't harming the sacrifices or anything, but he was just having fun because he was a very, very naughty child. And now what happened was, one time because of his naughtiness, he ended up being cursed by one of the rishis, who cursed him to forget all his power. Now, he was very little, he didn't understand what powers he had for that matter, because he thought everybody is like that, everybody can fly so high, or become smaller than the smallest or bigger than the biggest. He was assuming that, okay, this is normal, but no, these were the powers that he was bestowed with by all these demigods and demigoddesses when they came to take his darshan, when he got hurt and he got the name Hanuman. So he was cursed, but the Brahman did tell him that he is going to forget it for now, but he will remember when actually required. And that's exactly when happened. But that's what happened when he was trying to cross the the ocean, to go to Lanka to look for Mother Sita. And there on the shore, when all these, when Sampati told them that, Mother Sita is across the ocean, and they were trying to figure out who is going to cross the ocean. And they were very, because they were not sure who had that power. And that's when Hanuman was reminded of his power, and he grew bigger and bigger and bigger. And after that, we all know all the pastimes that he did. He got all his power back. Now, what happened was, so I'll tell you one very cute pastime of him as a little boy. One time, this is before all this forgetting of the pastimes, forgetting of the power and all. So when he was bestowed with all these wonderful powers and wonderful, blessings by all these demigods, so he was there sitting in his house with his father Kesari on his lap, and there Narad Muni passed by from there. So when Narad Muni passed by, Kesari paid obeisances. So this little boy, he asked him, "Who is he, father?" So he said, "He's Narad Muni." So he said, "Who's Narad Muni?" So he said, "Narad Muni is a very nice devotee. And you see, he's carrying this veena. He's the best singer. The way he glorifies and chants the name of Lord Narayan, it is unbeatable." So he said, "Oh, okay." So he being very naughty. He ran up to Narad Muni and he caught hold of his lotus feet and he said, I'll not let you go. So Narad Muni said, what do you want, dear child? So he said, I've heard that you can sing very well, and you're empowered by wonderful glorification for glorifying the names of Lord Narayan. Can you please teach me how to sing? So Narad Muni said, really? Okay. Okay, I'll do that. So then Narad Muni sat, generally wherever the monkeys live, they have these big shillas outside their house and all the caves. And so there was a big shilla there outside the cave where he used to live, and he sat there. And Narad Muni taught this little boy Hanuman how to sing. So he was very observing very nicely. Then he learned, and he was very smart. So he picked up really quick. And then he said, so then Narad Muni said, okay, now can I go? So he said, no, you cannot go yet. So then Narad Muni said, why can't I go? So he said, you taught me how to sing, but then who's going to tell me if I sing better than you or not? I mean, as good as you or not. You need to listen to my singing. So Narad Muni said, oh my God, because, his job is to glorify the names of Lord Narayan and preach in that regard, and he cannot stay at one place. That's his biggest problem. So he said, oh really? So he had already stayed for a while to teach him on that shila, and now he had to sit and test him also. So he said, okay, let's do it now that you want it. So then Hanuman started singing. Now he sang so beautifully that everything present there was losing its existence, in the sense the stone was melting, because the constitution of the stone is to be hard rock. But then the singing was so amazing. Can you please all mute yourself? Thank you so much. So then he started singing, and the singing was so amazing that the original constitution was being lost by the objects there. And Narad Muni, after teaching him how to sing, he had placed his veena on the rock, on the shila there, and he was absorbed listening to his singing. And lo behold, he was so lost that he forgot what's going on around there. And there he saw once. So now one stopped singing. So now when Hanuman stopped singing, when Narad Muni opened his eyes and he said, okay, now I'll go and you sing very beautifully, amazing. So no issues about that. So then Hanuman said, okay, go. So then when Narad Muni turned around to pick up his veena from the shila, lo behold, the shila had melted, and the veena was inside, the shila. And when Hanuman had stopped singing, the shila again took its original form. So it was embedded in the shila. And Narad Muni was like, how do I take out my veena now? So he told Hanuman, can you please sing one more time? So Hanuman said, no, I don't think so. I'm in the mood to sing anymore. So then Narad Muni was like, please, I need my veena. I cannot go without my veena. If you sing again, the stone is going to melt and I'll take out my veena. So then Hanuman said, Anna, actually, you know what? We are monkeys. We cannot sit at one place for too long. I think I'm done singing. And he just said that and he ran away. And then Narad Muni is running after him, chasing Hanuman. And Hanuman is going from one room to the other in his cave, from one place to the other. And Narad Muni is exhausted, totally exhausted. Then comes Kesari, his father, and he tells him that Narad Muni looks at him, and Kesari like, what happened to you? Why are you so exhausted? Why are you running around? So then Narad Muni tells him, please, can you please ask your son to sing? My veena is stuck in the stone and he's not singing and I need it. So then Kesari told Hanuman that, please start singing. What are you doing? He needs his veena. So then he started. So he said, okay. Then he started singing, and then he took out his veena and he was about to leave. Now, when Narad Muni was about to leave, Narad Muni told him, all this is okay, but can you please tell me why were you not singing, and why did you make me run after you like this? So he said that, actually, you know what? His father also chastised him. So he said, no, 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 I had no intention to bother Narad Muni. You told me, na, father, that Narad Muni is a very pious person and a holy man. So I wanted him to step in every room of our house. I wanted him to go all over the cave so that our house is purified. So then Narad Muni was very happy, and Kesri also was very happy. And then Narad Muni left. So a moment's association from a sadhu can really change you. And Hanuman, he knew the value of that. So then he did this. He wanted to do this. So what happened was, now one time, there was a rishi, and this rishi had a wife by the name of Narayani. This rishi was actually invalid. So she used to carry her husband in a basket on her head, and then they would move around because he was invalid and he couldn't walk and all that. But she was very, very, very doted wife, very dutiful, and very her chastity was amazing. So she used to carry her husband like that. Now one time when she was carrying her husband, they were crossing a forest where there was the ashram of another rishi, and this rishi was sitting under the tree doing tapasya. Now when she was carrying, she didn't see, she was looking in front, and the husband also could not see that this who's at the bottom below him. His feet touched the head of another rishi. It was by mistake, it was on accident. But this rishi, he got really upset. He got so upset that he cursed that invalid rishi, invalid brahmana, that you will not see the next sunrise. He was so angry. Now this Narayani, she got really upset. She said, it was an accident. He didn't know, and I didn't know either. And why this curse? So the rishi said, no, the curse once given is given. I cannot take it back. So she said, okay, if this is what you want, so you are cursing that my husband is not going to see the next sunrise. So the sun will not rise. If there is any power in my chastity, if I have been a sati all my life, if I have been very pure and pious all my life, the sun will not rise. Now this was something really big. It doesn't happen. The sun rises every morning and sets every evening. So the next day, now what happened was, the sun's chariot driver, Aruna, he was ready to board the chariot. He made all the arrangements, everything was ready to go. And then the Surya Dev came and he said, okay, hop on because they go around in the chariot, right? So he said, no, today no. We are on vacation. So his chariot driver said, what vacation? So he said, we cannot go today. It's not possible. We just cannot go for our routine. So Aruna was like, seriously, this has never happened. I've never got a vacation in my life. Now I might as well make the most of it. So he said, whoa, what are you doing? So he said, now that I'm on vacation, I'll go and I'll go for a party. He said, you'll go and party where? So he said, I'll go to heaven. Indra is always open for party. There's some party going on there. Lord Indra. So Surya Dev was like, okay, seriously? So okay, then he left. Now, as we all know, always something is happening. Some sabha is going on in Lord Indra's capital city. So Aruna went there, and he's there. There was something going on, something very interesting, a party so-called of the demigods, which he wanted to attend. So the gatekeepers told him, do you have the pass? He said, no, I don't have any pass or any welcome card or any invitation. So they said, you cannot go like that. So he was like, no, please try to understand. I've got just one day in a year vacation, not in a year, one day in my lifetime. And I really need to go and check out what's going on there. So the guards told him, okay, you turn into a woman, take the form of a woman, and then Lord Indra will not stop you because all the apsaras are allowed. So he said, okay. So he took the form of a woman. Now that was a very, very, very beautiful woman, being the chariot driver of the sun god. We can imagine how effulgent he must be. So then he took the form of a woman, and yes, he got the entry. Now, when he got entry into that party, Lord Indra saw her or him, and he got very attracted. And then Aruna said, I need to go. He said, no, 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 wait, you need to be here, and who are you? I need to find out more about you. Aruna was seeing that the time was kicking by and the next sunrise time was happening and he had to leave. But then Lord Indra, he did not let her go, and that's how he ended up conceiving there. Now, when he went, he was still in the form of a woman. When he reached Sun God himself got so attracted to this beautiful chariot driver, and he said that, who are you? And then when he said that I'm your chariot driver, he said, no, I like this form of yours, and I need to enjoy this. And then he conceived again. So the two children who were conceived were Vali and Sugriv. So Sugriv was the son of sun god, and Vali was the son of Indra. That is why when Lord Hanuman took all his teachings and lessons and instructions from the sun god, when the sun god taught him all this. So what happened was, okay, let's go back to the beginning. So now when sun god, he was supposed to get his education from sun god. So one day he went to sun god and he said, I need to get all my teachings from you. Sun god said, no, not possible. The class is full, because there were 6 million rishis present in his class, and he said there's no more seat there in the classroom. So he said, don't worry, I don't need a seat. I'll fly around with you while you are on your chariot, and that's how I learn. So the sun god said, okay, no problem. Then it is fine. Now, sun god, with every passing day, got so attracted to Hanuman that he didn't want him to leave. He wanted to have him as his student forever, because he was a very bright and sharp student. But if his education was finished, he had to leave. So what sun god did was, towards the end, every new lesson that he was teaching Hanuman, he made sure that he forgot it the next day. Then again, he had to repeat the same class. So that way, he was buying time. And Hanuman one day realized that what's happening? Why am I forgetting every day? Then he understood, and he told sun god that, please, that's fine. You like me. I'm very touched. You're my teacher. But please let me go. So the sun god said, okay. And then he gave him his memory back. And then he said, okay, but then I want to give you some dakshina. What can I do for you as Guru Dakshina? That's when sun god told him, I don't want anything from you. All I want from you is to take care of my child Sugriv wherever you go. Now Sugriv, so that's how Sugriv was the son of sun god. That's the correlation that I was making. Now, it was not easy for Hanuman to stick all his life with Sugriv, because, Sugriv was not that intelligent, okay? And Hanuman was very intelligent. So it is very hard to take orders from someone who is not there yet, but you are. You know how it is when we listen to a class, say, and if we know the pastime, whatever the speaker is talking about, if we are aware of the pastime, that time only we start rolling our eyes, or we doze off if there is something new we want to hear. But if it is the same repetition, though in Krishna Katha it is very relishable, we like it, but not in the very beginning. We think, we know this, so we have that thing about us that we know it, we already know it, so we kind of lose interest. But when we gradually develop the taste for hearing, for any Krishna Katha, no matter how many times you heard it, you relish it, you really, really enjoy it. So anyway, I'm talking about the mundane sense. So in mundane sense, also in the class, if the teacher is teaching you 2 + 2 is 4 and you already know it, you're like, what am I supposed to learn? Not much to learn here. So imagine Sugriv is of that caliber and Hanuman is of that caliber that he knows everything that Sugriv knows. But still, because he promised his guru to take care of his son, he was sticking to him all his life. So that's another amazing lesson we learn from Lord Hanuman, loyalty. This is loyalty. And then when he from Sugriv, from Sugriv Das, when he met Lord Ramchandra, he first became Lord Ramchandra's Doot. That is, Doot is the messenger. When he carried the message to Mother Sita, when he saw there the affection and the surrender Mother Sita had for Lord Ramchandra, he ended up becoming Ram Das. So what is the difference between Doot and Das? So Doot is basically, Pracharak. Pracharak it means the one who's preaching, who's carrying the message, right? So he was a Doot, he was carrying the message. And when he became the Das, that means he's following it, the Achar. So Prachar and Achar. Prachar is when you're preaching, Achar is when you're following also what you're preaching, So then he started, and then he became Ramdas when he saw the surrender of Mother Sita. Actually, Lord Hanuman was very, very cultured and very, when he was giving the ring to Mother Sita that Lord Ram had given him to show it to Mother Sita in case Mother Sita doubted who Lord Hanuman was. So that time when he was giving the ring to Mother Sita, he was very, he was very smart in the sense, when he landed on the tree in Ashok Vatika, he right away didn't start yelling about Lord Ramchandra, because he knew if he would do that, that is going to scare Mother Sita. So first he started singing the glories of Lord Ramchandra. And when he took Mother Sita into confidence that yes, he is related to Lord Ramchandra and not Ravana, that's when he handed over the ring to Mother Sita. And then Mother Sita, when she had the confidence that yes, he is Lord Ramchandra's messenger, that's when she instructed him to, because that time he's the one who burned the entire Lanka. So he told Mother Sita, you come along. Mother Sita said, no, I'm not going, because it's not only me, there are many other people here who are captivated by Ravana, and they need to be out. And Lord Ram has promised that he'll come and he'll deliver us all. So I am going to wait for him. So like that, Hanuman was very, very powerful. So what was happening was, when he in Ashok Vatika itself, when he was he was not actually caught. He wanted to be caught because he wanted to see who this Ravana is. So he had heard so much about Ravana, and he wanted to see who this daredevil is that who has captivated our Mother Sita. So after the exchange of the ring with Mother Sita, he went and he started jumping here and there, and he was destroying everything. And that's when he was caught by the guards of Ravana, and he was brought into the the assembly hall of Ravana, where Ravana was not even giving him a place to sit. So he said, I am a messenger and you should treat me well. Give me a seat to sit. So he said, so Ravana said, we don't let animals sit in our assembly hall. So then Hanuman said, oh, okay. Then he, he enlarged his tail and made a seat out of it and sat on top of it. When he sat on top of it, then he was higher than in height, higher than Ravana. So Hanuman had to look down upon him, and Ravana had to look up at Hanuman. So then he was talking to Hanuman, and then obviously Hanuman gave him all the options, and he said, better return Mother Sita. This is not right. What are you doing? And just surrender. It's not that difficult, and that's going to save your life. And he got so agitated, Ravana. He said, really? He said, go. Now he ordered his men burn his tail. So there were there was not even a single house that was left, because they wanted to tie a cloth to his tail and then dip it into kerosene oil and then burn it to fire, you know. So they did that. All the houses, everywhere, wherever there was, you know, extra cloth available, they got it. But there was one house which did not give a piece of cloth. That was Vibhishan's house. Now Vibhishan's house, when while looking for Mother Sita, he had actually entered one of the houses where on the walls was written Ra and Ram, and he was wondering, who is this daredevil in the Lanka who is having the name of Lord Ram everywhere? So he met Vibhishan and he asked him, what is this? How is that? Who are you? So he said, I'm Ravana's brother. So he said, you're Ravana's brother and you are writing the names of Lord Ram all over your house. Is he not angry with you? So Vibhishan said, no, 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 don't worry. I've told him Ra is for Ravan and M is for Mandotri. So he's so happy that he's asked me to paint it all over my house. So Vibhishan was smart in that regard. But he was feeling that he should not be giving up on his brother because of the blood relationship, though he knew that Ravana was wrong. But he didn't have the nerve to go and tell him that, you know, don't do this, this is not right, because he was under obligation. So anyway, so when Hanuman's tail was, burned, was set to fire, he jumped in every household which had provided the cloth to be tied to his tail, other than the house of Vibhishan, because from that house no cloth had come. So basically what he was saying, that what you've given me, I'm giving it back to you, to all those people. And then to Vibhishan, he told him that you go and you talk to Ravana and tell him that this is not right and he should surrender. And Vibhishan took his chance, and we know the rest is history. Then he was thrown out of Lanka, and then that's when he took shelter of Lord Ram. So like this, you know, there are so many pastimes. We can go on and on and on. I'll tell you one more, and then I think we'll end, because this is, like, we cannot even count. There are so many. Anyway, so one time what happened, now, the battle happened, and Hanuman helped in getting Sanjeevani booty so that Lakshman could be revived. And that's when Lord Ram hugged him. He was very, very happy. Now, when they went back to Ayodhya, I'm skipping so many of them. So now when they went to Ayodhya, they went back. One day, Mother Sita had applied sindoor, the red kumkum powder that the married women put there. And Hanuman was seeing that, and he said, what is this, mother? So she said, this is something that Lord Ram, he asked her, what are you doing and why are you doing? So she said that this is a sign of auspiciousness, and Lord Ram is very, very happy when he sees me put this. So he thought that just by this little sindoor that she's putting on her head, if Lord Ram is so happy, how happy would he be to see me if I cover myself top to bottom? And that's exactly what he did. He covered himself top to bottom in red powder, sindoor, and went in the assembly hall. And there Lord Ram could not recognize him. He thought that I've never seen this kind of animal, So then he said, who are you? He said, I'm Hanuman. So then he said, why have you put this? So then Hanuman told him that I went to Mother Sita's quarters and there I saw her putting this, and she told me that this makes you happy. So I was wondering if that small amount can make you so happy. How happy would you be to see me, like this from top to bottom? And then Lord Ram hugged Hanuman. So that was very, very, very sweet. And, this shows his surrender, total surrender. He would do anything to make Lord Ram happy. He was all his life, that's what he wanted to do, serve him and make him happy. So then one time what happened was, there are so many pastimes of Lord Hanuman and Lord Ramchandra. Anyway, so there was this one jeweler who had made a beautiful necklace, and he gifted that necklace to Mother Sita in the assembly hall, and Mother Sita gave that necklace to Hanuman. Now, Hanuman broke every single pearl of that necklace, and that jeweler was right there, and it took him a while to make that beautiful necklace. Out of love, Mother Sita gave it to Hanuman. Now, what happened? Hanuman broke every single pearl, and he was uh, looking for something in each pearl. And this jeweler got very upset because it was his hard work, and he was like, what has he done? Why did he break the necklace? So he went up to Hanuman and he questioned him. Why are you doing this? Why are you breaking every single pearl? What are you actually looking for? So Hanuman said, well, I am just seeing, is there presence of Sita and Ram and Lakshman in these? If not, then these pearls are of no use to me. Anything in which there is no presence of the Lord is of no use to me. So that jeweler got so upset. He said, really? You're talking as if in your heart, in your body, Ram and Lakshman and Sita are there? So he said, you doubt? So he said, yes. So then that's when he tore his heart apart, his chest apart, and he showed the presence of the Lord. And that also showed the exam, teaches us a lesson that all these material things are, Srila Prabhupada used to say, all these material things are useless and they are zero if number one, which is Krishna, is not present in your life. So if you think you're very beautiful, it's a zero. If you think you are very intelligent, that's another zero. If you think that you have all the opulence in the world, all the wealth, beauty, fame, everything is zero if the one that gives the value to that zero is not there, and that one is Krishna. So if you have 1 0 and number one, it is 10. If you have 2 zeros and 1, Krishna is still there, then it is 100. Otherwise, both zeros, 1 or 2, are zero. Zero is a zero. So all these things, material things, mundane material things, were of no value for Hanuman if the presence of Lord is not there. So that's a very another important lesson that we learn from the pastimes, from this pastime. Now I'll end by saying one more pastime, which is really cute. So what happened was, so in Ayodhya, this happened in Ayodhya, and there was this one devotee who entered Lord's quarters, and he came out and he was very jubilant, very, very happy, and he was singing songs and he was in bliss. And Hanuman was thinking, wow, looks like he's got some mercy from the Lord. And when he came, he said, what happened? Why are you so happy? So did you meet Lord? Because for a devotee, meeting Lord is what you are looking forward to, right? That's it. That's all what you want. So then he said, no, Lord is not inside his quarters. So he said, then why are you so happy? What makes you so blissful? So he said, you know what? I went inside and there I went looking for the Lord, but the Lord was not there. But there was a diary. And you know what? I opened that diary and the heading was the name of all the devotees who think about me constantly. And my name was there. I'm so happy the Lord has acknowledged this, that I think of him constantly. So I'm very, very happy. So Hanuman was like, wow, this is nice. I should also go and check if my name is there or not. He goes inside, he looks for the diary is there, and it says the names of the devotees who think of Lord constantly. And lo behold, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. He went through all the alphabets. His name is not there. Hanuman is not there. He thinks that there's some mistake. So he goes to the Z. Nothing, A to Z. No Hanuman, no name. He's very sad, very morose. He comes out with a long face, and there comes Lord. He's coming from that side, and he looks at Hanuman and he thinks that what happened? Why is he so sad? Maybe because he didn't see me, because that's how the Lord is, right? If the devotee is happy only when he gets the darshan of the Lord. And if you don't get darshan of the Lord, then the Lord knows the devotee is very sad. So Lord is thinking maybe that's the reason. So Lord Rama asks him, Hanuman, what happened? Why are you so sad? So then Hanuman says, I'm not talking to you. How can you do this? I went inside your room and there was this diary which talks about all the devotees who think of you constantly. And my Lord, you forgot me. You did not write my name. From A to Z, I went through every alphabet. There are so many names. My name is not there. So Lord Ram started smiling. He said, my dear, did you see there was another diary next to it which talks about all the names who I constantly think of all my devotees? And go and see, your name is the topmost. He goes inside, he looks for the diary. The diary says all the names that Lord, all the devotees that Lord thinks of constantly. And topmost was Hanuman. Hanuman became so happy, he was so jubilant. And then again, the Lord hugged him. So, what we learn from this pastime is that it's not only we who are seeking darshan of the Lord. When we go to temple, our darshan is like what? We go, we pay obeisances, we say our mechanical prayers, we come out, and once we come out, if somebody asks, what color outfit were the lordships wearing, we won't even remember that. We're that bad. But the Lord also sees us. One time, this is something I heard in a very wonderful class. They were saying that if you want the Lord to notice you, so when we go to temple, just to take darshan, we push and we move ahead and we try to come in front so that we can get darshan of the Lord. But no, what that the speaker was saying that when we go to temple, we should stand in a place close to a devotee who is very, very much loved by the Lord, who's very sincere, because even though we are rushing and we are trying to move ahead just to get darshan of the Lord, but the eyes of the Lord are looking for that sincere devotee. And once the Lord sees him, if we are standing next to that devotee, we will also get darshan. The Lord is going to, we'll get darshan anyways, but the Lord is going to look at us also. So it is very important to serve the devotees. The Vaishnav Seva is very, very important. Vaishnav Seva and Jivadaya. So it is very, very important. So at this point, I would like to end. If anybody has anything to say, we can take from here. Any questions or comments?
Mataji, I don't have a question, but I have a comment.
Yes, tell me.
I heard the Sindoor story like yesterday or the day before yesterday.
Really? Very nice. So now it is refreshed in your memory. You won't forget it. All right. Anybody else has anything to say? Okay. So I think we'll end here and then we will resume next Wednesday. Okay?
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. Her Grace Nyanmanjari Mataji ki jai. Vancha kaltaruvasya kripa sindhu bhaivacha. Patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Vaishnav vrind ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much, Mataji, for a very nice class.
Thank you, Mataji. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Haribo.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Ki jai.
Mataji.
Hare